All right, we got to do it. Let's talk about copywriting and AI. Hey, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor. And we got to talk about AI. So last week, I did a deep dive into all things AI because it's what everybody's talking about. We got to make sure that we are ahead of the game here, right? And I have to say that the deeper I went into the topic, the more reassured I was, quite frankly. And I know that that's not the case for everyone. There are absolutely stories out there of copywriters being replaced by AI. Now, there's something that's really interesting. Most of those people have in-house marketing jobs. There are a few freelancers whose clients have said that they're going to try and go that route, but I'm actually really willing to suspect that there'll be a backswing once people try to really implement the technology and realize that it's not as easy as it seems. That being said, there are going to be more and more AI tools developed, so it is definitely important to make sure that if you are a copywriter, you should be doing kind of what I've always been recommending from the beginning, which is really investing in your skill sets and in your business acumen. So if you've been hanging around this YouTube channel for any amount of time, you know that we talk so much more than about just writing copy. And that's because it is essential, especially if you're a freelancer, to know so much more than literally just writing the copy. So if you are a copywriter and the way that I teach it, you are so much more than just the person who writes copy. You are a marketing strategist, you are a copy engineer, and that is going to be essential as we shift in the world of technology. Now, the other thing that I've been talking about forever is how this is to be expected. Technology changes, and it is so important that we stay adaptable. And when you stay adaptable, when you expect change and you adopt a forever student mindset in this entrepreneurial journey, you will be so much more prepared to adjust with the change in times. So first and foremost, it is so important that you've got your mind right. This is not the first time we've seen a piece of technology come around and revolutionize everything that as we know it. I really believe that AI is going to be kind of like the internet in the sense that when it first came online, everybody was freaking out. It was daunting. It was big. It was weird. We were unfamiliar with it. It was even a little scary. And now we truly cannot even imagine our lives without the internet. And I think AI is going to be the same thing. And eventually you're going to be cultivating what I'm thinking of as an AI intuition. So you're going to start thinking about how to integrate it into your life to make your tasks easier. And make no mistake, that's also true for copywriters and marketers. I actually believe that AI is going to make marketing so much more accessible to a variety of people, which that means if you are a freelance copywriter, you have to continue to strengthen your skill set so that you can reach the clients at the top who still want to work with copywriters who understand marketing strategy as a whole. So again, I have always been thinking about how to be so much more than the person to write copy. And this is yet another reason why, because your skill sets are one of the most valuable things that you can invest time, energy, and money into cultivating. And that's going to continue to play out with AI. And honestly, AI is going to be an incredible tool for you to strengthen your skill sets, for you to become a faster writer, for you to become faster at creating entire marketing strategies if that's the route you go. And I'm really excited for it. And it's really been interesting to see how this is truly playing out online. It's so common in media for people to freak out about something and then for the dust to settle and for us to actually see what's really going on. And with AI stuff, we're seeing lots of people who have made the shift into it to only find out that it's not quite where they need it to be and to shift back. So always keep in mind that yes, there are going to be stories about people who have lost their jobs to AI, but then there are also stories of people whose jobs are solidified in AI. In fact, I was we're talking very recently hired by the biggest name in advertising to teach their marketing team copywriting. And I asked them point blank, why aren't you guys using AI? And they said because it is nowhere near where they need it to be in order to have effective campaigns. And so they're actually doubling down on training their team, the techniques of copywriting and the tools of persuasion and marketing strategy. So leave that little tidbit for you. So that's kind of my big picture thoughts about AI and where it is today. Let's get a little bit more into the nitty gritty. First, I want to talk about ethics. Is it ethical to use AI as a copywriter? Quite frankly, I think it is, as long as you're being honest. First and foremost, I think you should absolutely try it out, because more often than not, when people actually look at the thing that's scary or daunting, they realize it's not as scary and as daunting as they thought it was. And that tends to be most people's experience with using AI tools. They quickly see the limitations that they still have. So I want to encourage you to check it out, play with it, get curious. And then I absolutely think you should figure out how you can integrate it into your own processes to make them more efficient, to help you with brainstorming and proofreading. Those are some of the best ways that you can use it right now. But I definitely wouldn't recommend generating copy with an AI tool and just passing it over to a client. There's a lot of concerns still. First and foremost, it's important to know that large language models like Chat GPT, their primary purpose is to create the best sounding answer that they can from a prompt that's put into it. Now, here's an important piece of that. They will make the answer sound as good as it possibly can, even if they have to make up false information. And that's super concerning. The phenomenon even has a name. It's called AI hallucinations. In fact, there was a lawyer recently who got into a lot of trouble for using ChatGPT to come up with cases, and they were made up. They were fake. It actually completely ruined his reputation. So even if you're using these tools, you have to double check everything. A lot of these tools even have disclaimers. They warn you that the information can be made up, or sometimes even that they own the information. So just be really careful as you're navigating using these tools. And I really recommend that you mostly use them for brainstorming, getting ideas, helping you kind of get started. They can really give you a massive leg up on your processes. Also keep in mind that the territory of the laws around AI are brand new. This is new territory for everyone. So keep that in mind as you're navigating this. We actually don't know what's going to end up happening in the court system as it relates to AI. So this is just one of those things that we're going to have to keep an eye on and keep having conversations about. Another thing that's really interesting, and keep in mind, I'm talking about large language models like Chat GPT because that's the most relevant form of AI for our conversation as copywriters. But another interesting aspect to this whole conversation is that large language model optimization is going to be part of what we need to figure out next. That's kind of like the SEO of AI models. Search engine optimization is how you can write your pieces to show up at the top of Google more readily. And LLMO is kind of the same thing, but this is the really early stages. We don't really know much about it, but think about it. AI gets better by finding human-generated content, consuming it, and then reintegrating it into its outputs. And likely it's going to prioritize more helpful, better written content, hopefully. And with that in mind, people are definitely going to be trying to figure out how can you become a source for an AI tool? How can you integrate that SEO philosophy into the AI system? The other thing that's super interesting about this thought process is AI is going to get better the more human-generated content it consumes, right? Theoretically. But if everything online suddenly becomes AI generated, it's not really going to have a lot to feed into it to get better. So this is an interesting problem of the whole system that people are still trying to figure out. No one really knows what direction this whole thing's going to go. And I always think that's a really reassuring thing to remember, because even just like with SEO, when you learn about the different best practices, it's so important to remember that it's just best practices. It's everybody's best guess. There aren't a lot of people on this earth who actually know how Google works. Even Google employees themselves are shielded from some of the technology around their search engine. So, what does this bring us back to? The same advice I have been giving for over a decade now, which is to make sure that your pieces of copy that you are writing are genuinely engaging, genuinely helpful, creating connection, and the best that they can be. Write everything as if you are playing the long game. Will ChatGPT replace low-quality writing? Absolutely. It already is happening. Is it going to replace all the people on Upwork who are charging like $10 for a copy project on Upwork? Yeah. But if you are actually interested in becoming a marketing strategist, a copywriter who understands the customer journey, funnel creation, market research, avatar building, you are nowhere near about to be replaced by AI. There's so much more for it to be able to do. Now, there's about 3 more points that I want to make here. First, I want to give you some practical tips, the things that I think AI helps the best with right now. And that includes suggesting headlines, suggesting outlines, proofreading your copy, making suggestions around metaphors or imagery or comparisons, and asking for editing suggestions, especially if you want to incorporate a different style tone. So really, so much of what AI brings to the process is ideation. And let me tell you, it's a really cool tool for that. So if you're a Rate Your Way to Freedom student, you already know this because we talk about it a ton in the community. But if you are not a Rate Your Way to Freedom student, then I want to really encourage you. If you are going after low quality clients, which I would never encourage you to do, and we'll talk about what that looks like in a second, you're going to butt up against the conversation where they're replacing or going to use AI over you instead. Like I said, the biggest name in advertising just contacted me to teach copywriting to their marketing team. So those guys know that it's not there yet. The people who really understand marketing are going to see its limitations very quickly. And those are the types of clients you really want to be going after. The 2 best things you can be spending your time doing to build a successful freelance copywriting and marketing business is 1, getting better at your skill set, and including adding other skill sets that are complementary to copywriting, maybe Facebook ads management, maybe managing the back end of an email service provider, creating the automations and the flows. These are all skill sets that you can add that will make your copywriting and your knowledge around that so much more valuable to a client. But these are the clients that you need to be going after. And I've been saying that for so long. Don't sell yourself short. Don't go after the clients who don't have a website. Don't go after the clients who are not valuing marketing and actively trying to grow their business. You need to be going after clients even more so that understand the value of marketing, and quite frankly, they're going to be the ones online that look like they have their shit together. And I know if you're a newbie, that might sound scary, but that's again why the other part of that puzzle is to always be improving your skill set. Improving your skill set and client acquisition are the 2 things you need to be focusing 90% of your energy on as a freelance copywriter and marketer. And now I just kind of want to wrap up with the idea that anytime something like this happens, people tend to get overwhelmed, feeling like they can't keep up with what's going on and the changes in the industry. But I really want to invite you to kind of examine that and push back on it because quite frankly, even the people who speak with authority on the subject generally don't know as much as they are presenting. So it's something that we're all figuring out together. And I wish there was just a little bit more humility in the world of online education because quite frankly, some of the biggest experts in the industry still have gaps in their knowledge, especially as the technology changes so quickly. So again, the best thing you can do with this technology to combat fear and to use it to your advantage is to invite curiosity, to remind yourself you're a forever student, and also to remind yourself that change is inevitable. So I hope that helps alleviate some of the concerns and fears. There are true things to be concerned about, but there are also a lot of things that are being amplified in the media. And quite frankly, if this whole shift scares a lot of people away from copywriting, it just means more work for you. Hang in there. And again, I hope this helps. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if this was helpful. That's how I'll know you want to hear more about this stuff. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And as always, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I know this is a hot topic, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Thanks, guys.